Hey, good morning. How we doing? On a day trip out today. Come out to Richmond Park down in London. Going to spend the day down here. Starting the video with a bit of a difference actually. So I'm in a place called Isabella Plantation. It's a fenced off area in part of the park. And it's just full of azalea, magnolia, rhododendron, all little ponds that have been artificially created, ferns and bamboos planted. I mean, the colours are absolutely amazing, but a bit gaudy for my liking. I just thought I'd see what it was like. It's all quite sort of manufactured to look a certain way and maintained and kept to create like an idyll, but that's not for me. That's not what I've come here for. So I'm going to head out onto the actual park itself and get out there. It's full of red deer, it's full of fallow deer, loads of wildlife. I'm looking forward to being able to get out and see that. All this colour. The plants are all introduced, they're not native, they're not to my liking. My idyll is the natural landscape, how it's been. Obviously Richmond Park is it's an old royal hunting ground, has been for hundreds and hundreds of years, dates back to the medieval period. So let's get out there, we'll catch up in a bit. Catch you soon. Hey, so I've got out of that plantation with all the flowers and that. Now I'm actually out onto the park. It's absolutely massive. So Richmond Park, I mean, it dates back time immemorial, and it's been used for hunting since the medieval times. But the actual park itself was fenced in or closed in 1637 by King Charles I as a royal hunting ground. They've got around 300 fallow deer and 300 red deer here, and there's some just over that way which I'll get to in a minute. There's great big areas, pockets of trees scattered about, and then you get like the heathland, the actual parkland, and it's just kind of pretty much left to itself. Yeah, there is a bit of management that goes on obviously, but it's pretty amazing to see. There's over 1,000 oak trees in Richmond Park, and a lot of them estimated to be up towards 800 years old, and a lot of them have been like pollarded, so it's where they cut above the crown to keep them out of the reach of the deer, so that way it encourages growth, and they would have been used for felling for timber. I'm gonna just bring you up over here. Let me just pop you on pause a second. So we've got a load of fallow deer over here, and looking at the size of them, a lot of them are young, and these are probably from last year's carving. You've got the traditional fallow deer markings on a lot of them. You can also see, I mean, if you can zoom in on the video, some of them are quite dark, and then some of them are really, really lightly coloured. Now that's not albino, that's leucism, so it's a change in the pigment in the skin, not albino, leucism. It's commonly called like fawn or gold, and there's quite a lot of them over here. I'm not getting too close, you have to be careful. I'm keeping an eye out just to make sure there's still no sort of larger stags about, but it's just loads of them just tucked away feeding. They're obviously aware I'm here, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Beautiful to see, beautiful to see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a big wander over the other side of this area, and then I'm going to sit down, I'm going to have a brew, we'll catch up in a bit. But what an amazing place, what an amazing place. Luckily the weather's quite kind to me today. So yeah, let's go and get a brew. Hey, it's a bit of a rain shower going at the moment, so I'm just going to take cover underneath a couple of trees. But there's a herd of red deer just over there. I'll just come out from the shadow of the trees a little bit so you get a better idea. There you go. Can you make those out? About 50 metres away, 40, 50 metres, which is a safe distance to sort of go by. Pretty cool to see them out in the natural landscape. That's right. Morning. Everyone's pretty courteous around here. There's a couple of horse riders. Everyone's pretty courteous. So yeah, herd of red deer. So in this country, you get red deer and roe deer, and they're only two native species of deer. Then obviously you get fallow deer, you get sika, you get muntjac, and in some places you will get Chinese water deer in, like, you know, stately parks and that. And all those others, they're introduced species. So it's only the red and the roe which are native, really. Pretty cool to see. Anyway, I'm standing out in the open, I'm going to get wet. Let's have a brew. Just sat under this great oak tree, probably at least 400 years old, probably even more. It's pretty impressive. And over that way is where I've just been watching the deer. And I can just see in the distance, underneath some horse chestnut trees, about 150 metres away, there are a couple of real big red deer stags. I can see one of them just on the outskirts. He has already got a good rack of antlers growing on him. So when I finish this video, I think I'm going to go over that way, get to within a reasonable safe distance and try and get some pics. Rain's coming down a bit more now, it's just some showers that are blowing through, but underneath this tree it offers a nice bit of cover. Oak trees, the oak trees, man, imagine the stories that they could tell. You know, some of them in this park up to 800 years old. This one probably, well, I don't know, 300-400 years old. The stories that it could tell over the passage of time. Incredible. One of the things I've been careful about today is while I'm wandering through, obviously I'm going through lots of like long grass and like through fern and bracken, lots of long grass and between all the pockets of trees. And I'm quite wary of this time of year, you know, just being aware of, you know, the ticks. This time of year, this is like the peak sort of season. You really got to be careful over these couple of months, you know, when the grass grows up really long. So just being aware. There's some great resources online. If you go on to, I think it's Lyme Disease UK or Lyme Disease Prevention UK, and get some really useful information on those, because the tick-borne disease, Lyme, is a horrible, debilitating thing that can go undiagnosed for years and that, and it can be absolutely debilitating. So every now and again I'm just making sure that I sort of like check above my ankle line. I've got my ankle boots and that on today, but with some quite high socks and that on, and I'm just sort of like checking around myself. Obviously once I've finished my walk later on today, when I get back I will give myself a thorough check over for what appear to be like any little insects and that on me, or any little bite marks. You just want to make sure you're really checking around, you know, like around your boot line, back of the knees, in the groin, underneath the armpits and around the neck and that. That's really careful. Obviously at this time of year I'm out in the park that's got a load of native wildlife and that, with all the deer and that. There are some whopping horseflies flying about as well, so every now and again I'm just sort of making sure I'm just keeping an eye on the back of my neck, because pretty much that's the only exposed area of me today with what I'm wearing. So it's a great wood, absolutely great park, this really is. I'll probably make 2 videos out of this because I'm here all day. So yeah, can't wait, can't wait. You know, with the channel and that at the moment, it's a real sort of mix of what I've got going on. Every couple of weeks there's a review of a product, and then there's my sort of ramblings, like today where I'm going out, I'm telling you about the landscape and the wildlife that's amongst it, flowers, fauna and flora as it were. And then there's obviously my little like trips out and my camps out. So it's a real nice mix. A lot of them at the moment, they are walks out and me finding new places to go to. And yeah, that's what the video is about today. Having a good walk out, seeing natural landscape. But the actual channel itself at the moment, it's a real mix of my walks out, finding new camp spots, doing reviews, identification on stuff. And obviously with the bushcraft show coming up as well, there is going to be a lot of bushcraft stuff on there for me to film and record, and that'll be interesting to put onto the channel as well. So I'm going to tune out for now. I think that's enough for this one. I'm going to carry on with my cuppa. I'll catch you later. Hey, how we doing? Just keeping my voice down. Just off the side of one of the little roads that come through Richmond Park. And I'm stood by a tree. Just really keeping an eye of where I am. Just keeping my voice down. Because this is pretty spectacular. This is where a lot of the big red deer stags are staying at the moment. There's quite a few there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that got a big rack of antlers growing, pissing down with rain. So their antlers are growing at the moment. They've still got the velvet on. There are a couple of really big boys there. Pretty impressive. I'm just keeping an eye out, looking around me, just keeping aware of if there's any other deer that I may not have come across. The other day I used to having people around. They've been sat here for a while. I've been watching from a distance, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Obviously once you start getting in towards rutting season, there's no way that I would be this close. I'm just kind of watching my distance. There's another photographer over there. We're trying to keep out of each other's shots. But these boys, this one directly in front of me here, and this one here, they are massive, absolutely massive. And they're just sat down, they're all right. They're keeping an eye on me as much as I'm keeping an eye on them. Majestic animals. They really are. They're just staying under the cover of these trees. It's pissing down with rain now. I'm going to move on from here because I don't really want to disturb them too much. Catch you in a bit. Hey. Oh. Rain, sun, rain, sun, rain, sun. It's just been a biggest downpour and a big long shower. And just come up onto a bit of a rise on the above the plain up on Richmond Park, and noodle time. Gotta have me some noodles. Just a quick boil up at the old camping gas stove. get some noodles going. You know I love my chicken noodles. Cheap, cheerful, does the job for a little bit. Not bad. Kind of looks like the shower's kind of passing over now and it's starting to get sunny and that again, which should be good. Yeah, just a quick little brew up. And just underneath, just a bit of shelter from a youngish beech tree. It's giving me a lot of shelter. Good spread on the canopy here, so yeah, it's kind of nice just to get under here, get out from the rain for a little bit. Say it looks like it's passing now. Give that a quick little stir. So been having a great wander across Richmond Park today. I really have. No real bushcrafty sort of stuff, as it were. You can't have fires and barbecues and that here. Obviously it's a grade 1 listed site, it's scientific because of its triple SI for nature. I dare say people do have little fires and that. Oh, I've got my firebox stove, but I've got no intention of having a fire today. I don't need one and that. But yeah, I'm underneath this beech tree. Just kind of been wondering really. The husks off the beech from the beech nuts. I don't know if you ever noticed, they just seem to last and last and last and last when they're on the ground. Okay, it's the husks there. I'm just kind of wondering really whether dry them out, strip them out a little bit, open them up a bit more, dry them out. Just kind of wonder whether anyone's really bothered to sort of use them for like a tinder source in like your stoves, you know, your firebox stoves or your wood gasifier stoves. I just wonder whether they'd actually kind of really burn or whether they just kind of smoulder. I don't know if anyone's actually ever tried that, but I might gather some up, dry a load out. Obviously they're pretty dry here anyway because they're underneath the canopy, but you know, properly dry them out, try them out as a little sauce for the firebox stove. I don't know if anyone's actually got any thoughts on that at all. Be interesting to know. Might do a little bit of research on that. It's an absolutely cracking place, it really is. So glad I've taken a day off to come down here. Well, it's not a day off, and you know, I work for myself, but it's my day to do what I want, and it's just been something I've wanted to do, is to come down here. I think this is like my 3rd video that I'm doing. It's going to be the last one, just because there's so much to explore. There really is. There's so much to explore and see and do here. It's such a big place. It's actually it's the largest of the royal parks in London. I mean, it's right on the outskirts of London, not too far from the Thames. But yeah, it's just so much to see and do here. That's why this will be like part 3, the last video. So yeah, no real bushcrafty stuff, because you know, it's not what I'm coming here to do. This is more about getting out amongst the landscape, taking in the deer and appreciating the nature that's around with me. But yeah, while I was just sat here, you know, that sort of thought about the beech nuts, that's something I'm definitely going to I'm going to collect some up and I'm going to take a load away with me. There's loads of trees up my way. I don't need to take them from here. There's loads of beech trees near me. It's always worth doing some research, finding out if things work, and if they don't, move on to the next thing. If it works, then that's another source of kindling and things like that I can use for tinder. Anyway, this is almost done. I'm going to crack on with my lunch, and then we'll do this last bit on this wall. Catch you in a bit. Hey, how are we doing? Just finished my little lunch. I've just had a chat with a lady. She's kind of moved on now, and she didn't really want to be filmed, understandably. But I kind of noticed she was like walking through, and she was taking pictures. There's like a burnt down tree and that there, and then she had like a little like fold out laptop, and she was taking pictures. But I know she had like a little like a ball peen hammer with like rubberized mallety bits on the end. So I just asked. She kind of saw me. I come out, and I just kind of said, hey, you know, like, can I ask what you're doing? So she ended up sort of telling me that she works for the royal parks. And I kind of said, oh, you know, are you, because they tag the trees, you know, in all big places they tag the trees, so you can you know roughly how old they are and things like that. But she said know what the hammer was for, and she was over at this tree here, and this is a sycamore tree, and she said what you do is you actually they go around on trees and sort of like tap on the base of the trunks, and that's like sounding for hollowness, and that's when you get like decay and a fungal infection in there. And she was spouting off all these names of infections that you get in the trees, and yeah, they monitor it. So although it is an absolutely massive royal park with thousands and thousands of trees, it is kind of left to its own devices to a certain degree, but you know, it is obviously managed from arm's reach. So they keep an eye on obviously trees that have been burnt by people illegally having fires, but like testing out trees to sort of see what state of decay and rot are setting in. And it's just good to get an appreciation of the work that goes on for woodland management, and I think that's really important. So yeah, it looks like it's just left to its own devices, but there are teams of people out here actually managing and looking after the landscape. I mean, I'm not going to take you down there, but if you zoom in it on the video, yeah, there's a great big old oak there, and they've put a traditional stockade around it, and that's obviously a really old tree that's been like pollarded, and they've stockaded the area off to keep like the deer and that out, and to protect the tree. So yeah, it's really good to sort of get an idea of what people are actually doing when they're managing the landscape, and that benefits us, so that we can get out and we can appreciate the parks and the woods where we go to. You know, it's nice to see them in a natural landscape, but there is conservation work that goes on, and that's to be applauded and supported. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, I'm kind of done here today. I'm going to start heading back. It's time to get home. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. I've had an absolutely fantastic time exploring here, and it's time for me to say goodbye. It's been a fascinating walk round, doing a couple of different videos. Yeah, absolutely had a blast of a time. It's been fantastic. So yeah, tune in. We'll catch up soon. See you later. Bye.